This is Logan DeShepper. This is the second video explanation for Physics 105 with Dr. Sean Bartz. So for my problem, I have a projectile motion example. And the question is, suppose a soccer player kicks a ball from a distance of 21.5 meters towards the goal. Find the initial speed of the ball if it just passes over the goal 2.4 meters above the ground, given the initial direction to be 40 degrees above the horizontal. So for picturing that, we can draw it as a triangle. And so this is the y-axis and this is the x-axis. We can draw a line going up. And it's given that the degree of this angle is 40 degrees. And so we can represent this separately by drawing the whole thing out. So we have a ball going up 40 degrees, reaching its highest point, and then falling back down, and it was given that it goes just above the soccer goal, which is said to be 2.4 meters high. It's also said that this distance represents 21.5 meters. So a couple things we should keep in mind going into this problem is that we can use the degrees of this angle to represent both horizontal and vertical velocity. And so what we're able to do with that is find different variables that have been unsolved, specifically this initial velocity. But we can't just use this because we don't know the horizontal or vertical velocity as well. And so what we have to do is some manipulation of our kinematic equations. And so what we're going to have to do is rearrange this equation into this. And so now whenever we see a t in one of our other equations, we can substitute this value. And that's for x. And so the other equation we're going to use is this one. And what we're going to do is go through and substitute the variables that we've manipulated. And so far we also have y. So y is going to equal v times sine 40. And so that's where this came from. And then we have 2.4, which is our starting vertical value. And then we have our t's, and then half of gravity is negative 4.9. And so if we substitute for the t values, we get this more complicated equation. And so all I've done here is just simplify some of the variables. Sine over cosine is tangent, so we can rewrite this as 21.5 times tangent of 40. And then, of course, we have what we substituted in for. And so if we just continue, I should probably show this. So all we did from here to the next step is simplify our variables some more. And so if we keep going through and simplifying, eventually we'll get this. And so after dividing this number by this number, we have a squared variable. So we're going to take the square root of both sides, and you get your final answer on the back. So this is the final or initial speed in meters per second.